Do not buy Dimensional Guardians. What's going on, guys? It's Simo. Now, today I wanted to bring to you a video basically discussing and exclaiming the point, do not buy Dimensional Guardians. This set is absolutely trash, and I really want to go point by point as to why that is, and why you shouldn't invest any of your money into this set, because, frankly, you know, I'm not really in favor of buying any sealed products whatsoever, but I think this one especially is just like, absolutely just a complete money sink, because there's just absolutely no value here, and I don't even really understand why Dimensional Guardians even really exists as a set. I mean, we're getting some cards that are brand new, but a lot of these are reprints, and on top of it, they're already incredibly cheap reprints, so it's not like they're reprints of cheap cards, so it's not like we're really getting any value out of here, or really players that might be playing on a budget or anything are getting any extra value, because you can pick up the cards that are currently available in this set in their original sets, and they're basically like the exact same price. And on top of it too, we're not getting any really good cards in this set. Like, a lot of people argue that Fright Fur Patchwork should have been in this set, and to be fair, Fright Fur Patchwork was in the Millennium box for Japan. It wasn't in this set. So, but if you have a set that you're giving Fluffle new support, it kind of makes sense that if you want to put like a chase card, quote unquote, in this set, that Fright Fur Patchwork would have been the card to do so. But they didn't do it, and I really think this set is a massive disappointment. So what I want to do is I want to transition over here to my screen and really show you guys, you know, the set just got released, and the most expensive card in the set, at least to TCG Player, is Speedroid Domino Butterfly, you know, sitting at, you know, $13 right here. I think if we scroll down a little bit, Spiral Flame Strike is at $12 as well. So the most expensive cards in this set are at like $12, and they're not even good cards. I mean, we could go individually one-on-one into these cards, but if you look up the card effects yourselves, all of these cards are frankly just absolutely terrible. Like, Speedroid Domino Butterfly is probably going to see no play. Pendulum Fusion, okay, arguably is like an okay card because it allows you to fuse with monsters that are in your Pendulum Zone. I guess that's kind of cool, but this card has seen no play whatsoever on the competitive scene in Japan, so I'm not expecting us to see, you know, anything here. So you got this $12 price tag on this card that's probably not going to see any play. I could be wrong because we got Wisdom Eye back to 3 as well as Pendulum Call and all this other stuff, but I'm just going to take a guess here and say that we're not going to be seeing this card at all. Maybe a one of at best if you're playing a deck that supports, you know, fusing with Pendulum monsters. Then you've got Fright Fur Reborn, which is just a big disappointment of a card because it has to specifically target Fright Fur monsters. If it could target Fluffle monsters in addition to Fright Fur monsters, that would be insane, but the fact that this card only allows you to get Fright Fur monsters back is just a huge disappointment, but this card has a $10 price tag. Then you got Raid Raptor Replica, which is just awful. Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon, now we're getting into cards that already have been printed. You know, this is sitting at $8, but just like I was saying, you look back at the original packs that these cards were printed in, this is Cypher Dragons right here in Dragons of Legend Unleashed at $7.50, and that's for the secret rare version of it, because the only deck that's really going to play this card is Blue Eyes, so Blue Eyes needs 1 or 2 copies depending on what you want to play, but the prices are basically equivalent. Then you have Spiral Flame Strike, which again, we talked about it before as being one of the more expensive cards in the set, but this card is kind of just a disappointment as well, because the card just requires really too much. You need to have an Odd Eyes monster on the field, and it's not really that good of a card, just if we're being totally frank. Then Fright Fur Daredevil is just a huge letdown. Ritual Sanctuary, you know, nice reprint, I suppose. I mean, the only deck that's really using Ritual Sanctuary are like Herald Cyber Angel decks, maybe, like that's basically all I can think of. So this card's sitting at $4. Well, if we go and look, you know, when Ritual Sanctuary was originally printed in Dragons of Legend, Ritual Sanctuary is sitting here at $4 as well. So again, it's a reprint, but there's no value exactly in these reprints. Then we can keep going. Red Wyvern's another example of a card that's already been printed. We've got Performapal Ballad and Performapal Barracuda. Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, but again, Scarlight, you know, isn't seeing any play whatsoever. Then you've got the Cyber Angels, which all got a reprint, which, you know, is fairly nice, but again, we're going into Dragons of Legend here. We just move on to the second page, and Ben 10 is right here sitting at $2.30 as well. So again, I'm trying to elicit a lot of different examples here of all the cards in this set that we already have currently in the game, but all the cards that they reprinted are basically, you know, just, we already have them at a very cheap value and really don't provide anything, you know, really for the casual or competitive community. Now, granted, this set did just come out, so these prices are actually, if you can believe it or not, hype prices. And, you know, in the coming weeks, you know, I'm just using these examples here, you know, just as the time of recording this video, but, you know, you're gonna look a week or two from now, and the prices of these cards from Dimensional Guardians are only going to plummet because, like I said, most of the cards that people want have already been printed. So, you know, the cards like the Cyber Angels or the Ritual Sanctuary or the cards that we already have in print, they're going to become even lesser in value, so that, you know, if you actually do want to play a Cyber Angel deck, or, you know, you need a playset of Ritual Sanctuaries, or any of the cards that this set is reprinting, you know, they're going to become even cheaper. But reprinting cheap cards doesn't really do a whole lot for the casual or the competitive community. I wanted to pull up the old Duelist pack, Rivals of the Pharaoh. You saw me flip to this by accident earlier. Now, Duelist Pack Rivals of the Pharaoh was the last Duelist pack that we got. Now, while be it this wasn't, you know, an amazing pack by any means either, this pack actually provided some really interesting cards for us. We got Lullaby of Obedience in this pack. I mean, Lullaby of Obedience has seen competitive play essentially since it's been released because it's such an amazing card, especially in mirror matches, but especially right now in like the Zodiac format we're currently in. Lullaby of Obedience is absolutely phenomenal because you can just call a card like Terratop or Rapier. Hell, you can even call Max C just to get the Max C out of your opponent's deck, and now you've got, I mean, you could just get rid of it and you don't even have to worry about it. So Lullaby of Obedience is such an incredible card, but yet it was in a Duelist pack, which is what's hilarious. But again, this is a card that not only the competitive community is after, but it actually provides some value for people who are purchasing this pack to actually incentivize them to get something really good. Then Silent Magician, I mean, it's pretty much more of a collector card than anything. Silver Scry being printed as a super rare was pretty cool because the only iteration of Silver Scry before, I believe, was common. So getting this as a super reprint for the Blue Eyes players, because at the time of Duelist Pack Rival of the Pharaoh's release, Blue Eyes was a really big thing because we hadn't fully transitioned the meta yet. So getting Super Silver Scry was cool, but again, it's providing more value for not just the casual players, but the competitive base as well for the players that wanted to max out their Blue Eyes decks. Then again, there's a lot of nostalgic value in this set, which is, I think there's a lot more nostalgic value in older sets, more so than newer sets, because I think a much bigger majority of the fan base preferred the older anime compared to the newer ones. So that means that some of these cards kind of just have a greater demand, I would argue, than some of the newer cards that aren't really going to be worth this much. Things like Dark Sanctuary, Silent Swordsman, you know, Neutron Blast, things like that. But then we get cards like Magnet Reverse, which actually saw a lot of play during ABC format because it's just an incredible card, and being able to resurrect a Dragon Buster for free as a quick play is pretty fucking good. And then we also had Tribute Burial, which, you know, Tribute Burial didn't really see any competitive play. I would argue Tribute Burial came a little bit too late because it would have actually been a pretty cool tech in Monarchs, but it's a very good generic card, and while it's only a couple bucks, it's still just kind of an overall just generically good card. And you know, you could keep going. I think those are just the highlights out of Rivals of the Pharaoh, but I think it's just really goes to show that they really missed an opportunity with Dimensional Guardians to make it a good set. They needed to give it that one value card that everyone was looking for. So, you know, if they did decide to put Fright for a Patchwork in this deck, or in this pack rather, or just another good card that's like on the level of Lullaby of Obedience, because if you guys remember when Rivals of the Pharaoh was released, released, Lullaby of Obedience was going for like $20 to $30 a copy because everyone just thought it was fucking broken and ridiculous. And while it is an incredibly good card, and now as you saw it's only down now to maybe like $6 a copy, it was still something that was really sought after in the pack. And I really don't feel like Dimensional Guardians offers that sort of intrinsic value in terms of the set as a whole. You look from a month from now and you're gonna see that every card in this set is probably gonna be below like $5, if not even less, because every card in this set is just pretty much worthless. Like, there's not really anything in here that provides, whether it's like a hollowed out version of an older card a lot of people might want, it's providing reprints of cards that don't need reprints, and it's providing exclusive cards that aren't going to have any effect, which means there's not going to be any demand on the competitive market, and it doesn't really even cater to the casuals that much because most of these cards that already exist there's already a plethora of them available on the market. Players can acquire them, and overall I just feel like it was a disaster of a set, and it really Konami just really missed an opportunity here. But guys, those are just my thoughts. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, because I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Maybe I'm just alone in this opinion, but I really feel like a lot of people really don't like this set as a whole, and I feel like it could have been so much better if they would have just added 1 or 2 amazing chase cards that people would have really coveted. But that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like the video as always, subscribe to the channel for more amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content, and if you like this video, consider backing me on Patreon, because just by pledging only $1 a month, you're investing in my ability to continue bringing you amazing Yu-Gi-Oh content. So thanks so much again, and we'll see you next time.